then we'll get that. Hi, Claire. Dave is with us. I'm very excited today because this is the first time in 10 years I actually now have an office in the shop. So this is progress. It's taken a long time, but there's been a massive clear out, and I feel that productivity is going to improve a lot.
Your
Because
environment makes a big
generally,
difference.
I know, I really, honestly, it's the difference, because now I can have people obviously working in the shop, and it's at the back of the shop. That I've always had like a room upstairs, but it just doesn't work at all. You sort of have to be nearby. But I've got a proper desk. I have a plant. I have a watering can. I have books.
I don't think an office is complete unless you've got a slightly on the edge of dying plant in there somewhere that you've
Yeah,
forgotten about.
it'd be interesting actually, as we do the shop talk, you can watch the plant and see how it. No, I'm going to look after my plant. Its watering can is right next to it, so
If
the
you
plant.
put a camera onto that plant now and put that onto like a Facebook Live, people would tune in and watch it.
Watch
I'm
the
not
plant.
even joking. There are channels where people just there's Twitch now that people just tune in and watch people in silence do their work. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't be
It's not.
exciting. But yeah, I can see people would spend their
I
time
think
doing that.
mine's gone the other way. My office has become a bit of a shop because I get so many samples and stuff and brands sent to me that I've actually
Yeah,
now had to use a lockup to store all the samples that
yeah.
have been sent, and then I give them all to like a food bank at the end of each month and stuff.
I know it's hard because you do kind of pick things up. We've got now, and I guess this would be a hint to any health stores who don't have any space. I've rented a room at the hairdressers next door. So because you get stuff, you've got point of sale, you've got stuff that you don't use all the time, but you don't want to throw it out, and you don't know what to do with it. So this was just a shambles for a long time of just stuff. So it's
It
had
looks great.
a massive sort out, and now I have space. So anyway, enough about me and my space. Let's make a start. So thank you to everyone who's joined us. I think so the session is being recorded, and it is being recorded so that you can play it back. You can play it back to your teams. I was saying today before that for me it would be really good to get some hints with regards to things around point of sale that I can share with the team, because I think I've got my mind as to where I think I like things to go and what they look like. And sometimes potentially I feel as though it's a bit of a race to the bottom of the box when we get deliveries. It's like, let's get everything out as quickly as possible. And I sort of look around and I try not to be grumpy when I come in, but I sort of go, oh, it's nice where you've put that. That's interesting. So and I admit I haven't really done any formal training with them with regards to point of sale. We'll do campaigns, we'll put things out, but I've never really actually gone through with them any particular logic around that. So I think that would be really useful. I'm going to hand over to Dave very quickly, but I guess a heads up on the next session, which I am checking the date for now. The next session will be so we're the last Wednesday of the month, so it'll be the 31st of July, and that will be a mastermind session. Cheryl, is that right? Yep, perfect. So we are now, I probably say it every time, but we're now basically the last Wednesday of every month. And we've got a few different things that will run in rotation. So we've got a mastermind session. We then have the following month a sort of more education session with one of our suppliers. And then we've got Dave, who can cover off lots and lots of different things with regards to our stores. And we were just chatting maybe about integrating some small little kind of snapshot things as well, just so it's not like, oh, 3 months until the next thing. So there's always lots we can do. And now I'm going to say nothing and hand over to Dave, who has the power of being the co-host.
I feel the power as well. It's quite a burden. I don't know how you do it with such a light-hearted smile. It's nice. Thanks for that. I think a lot of the bite-sized things are interesting. Today's session is around point of sale, And don't mute yourselves for too long, because it'd be really great to have some interactions on there and get some live thoughts and ideas as well as we go along, as those that know me know that I will always try and do. Point of sale is an interesting one. There's point of sale and also point of purchase. There's POP and POS. And actually, there's so many acronyms in our world that sometimes knowing the two and where to start with the two is important. So point of sale or POS is always around. And the idea of point of sale is simple, is to attract a sale at the point of the sale. So whether that be on the point of shelf, at the till area, or wherever the consumer is going to purchase the product. And actually, POP, which is point of purchase, is actually around a wider piece of in the store. It might be around more generic advertising. It might be around just following the customer on their journey through the store, and generally just planting little seeds into the consumer's mind. But if we take a step back for a second, it comes back to what we talked about previously around that consumer journey and where that consumer journey starts from. So we've had a session before about the shop window, which hopefully entices new customers in, and then they're in the store, and then you've got your existing customers that are also coming in from that shop window as well. But now they're in the store, the story continues. And where do you want it to continue? So just to set a scene, when you're thinking about your customer, they're coming into store, and it's then where you have to think about, you mentioned earlier on around where you're putting product in store, which is very key. And maybe we said around, if you're doing a social media thing, you're doing a hero product of the month, where do you want your customer to go? So when you're walking through your store, where do you want them to go and what do you want them to see? That's where you start to think about where you position your best products, always at the back and the right, because people go into the front and the left, so that you have to get people to walk around the store and on that journey for people to get to the products or your main best selling product ranges. But also then what do you want people to see along the way? And I think sometimes point of sale can be confusing. I think sometimes it can be misused or not understood how to maximize that opportunity to use, and we'll talk about that. And sometimes not used at all. So I know that I've spoken to many stores, and I'll be interested to get people's feedback on here as well, especially when brands have approached, they've said, no, we don't want any feedback in store or any point of sale at all. We don't want any clutter. We want people to see the products. We want people to see their clear, clean store as they come in, and they don't want to use it at all. And that's fine. If that is your option and that's your opinion, that is fine. It is proven that point of sale can increase sales by up to 30% in store, if done correctly and if done in the right manner. If I've been into other stores on the other end of the scale where there is a bit of point of sale on pretty much every surface that there is in the store. And that then actually has the opposite effect, because there is so much of it that nothing stands out. So I think that's the main piece. That's your first kind of thought process, is think about your customer and what you want to stand out for them. You'll get a lot of brands that will send you POS and products and so on that you'll have and point of sale that you'll think, oh, I'll put that up. But before you do any of that, think why. Why would I put this up, and how does it add value? How is this going to add value to my customer and my customer's journey? What value will it have to them? And not from your perspective of, I know this product, I know this is great, they'll love this. Actually think about it from theirs. Does it add value? Where does it help? For some people, point of sale is purely a reminder to where product goes on shelf. For brands, especially, shelf edge strips are a fantastic piece of POS, and they want you to have that because that will remind you that their product goes in that gap. And we've all been in stores where we go, "It's an empty spot there. What went there?" I don't know. And we just fill it with something else. It's happened. I'm sure it's happened to most people. I'm sure it continues to. So, for a brand perspective, they'll force you to have POS that they want you to have for certain reasons. But again, it coming back to kind of the reasons for you specifically, and you can feed that back to brands as well. Is that number one for the customer? So where do you want to place it? So ideally, point of sale is there to add value. You want to highlight products that you feel your customers would benefit from. You want to highlight products that your customer would be more inclined to purchase. and you want to highlight products that perhaps add something different, add a different value. Maybe they're on trend at the moment. Maybe they are, maybe I know a certain store that's done a massive mushroom display on their windows because mushrooms are very much on trend at the moment, whether that be through what's going on with Clarkson's farm and growing lion's mane mushrooms, or whether it just be a trend. But actually, that's what consumers are looking for. So it's something that will give that positive emotive connection and something that will add value to their day. So a bit of POS that kind of talks around hay fever at the beginning of the season could add great value. Have you tried this tablets? We find now most people, a normal hay fever tablet, as an example, doesn't do the trick. They're still getting symptoms. So what have you got that lets them know that they don't have to suffer? They don't have to suffer in silence. What is it that adds that value to their journey? Secondarily, and the other side of that is from your perspective, what adds value to you? What products have you got that have got potentially a better margin that you want to sell more of, that you want to create more awareness of? Those are the products that, if they add value, and then we tick the list, if they add value and then they have a good margin, then they're the products that you want to advertise a little bit more, because we all want to make a little bit more money. And we're going to promote some of the products that, if they add that value to the customer, secondarily, they have a margin. Maybe we want to highlight those because if we want to get that repeat purchase in. And that's the third piece, repeat purchases. The idea is that we're telling a story. So on a regular basis, we might want to think about the story that we're telling within point of sale, and we might want to highlight a product that will become a repeat purchase. Because if you're highlighting a product that potentially could last for 3 to 6 months, maybe you won't see your customer for 3 to 6 months. Why would you want to highlight that to them? So actually thinking about, well, actually, this is something they might need regularly across the summer, or regularly across winter, or regularly full stop on a monthly basis, a refill or whatever it might be that lasts a particular amount of time. I wouldn't be doing point of sale on 5 litre refills, as an example. You want to advertise them, they're great, but actually you want them to come back regularly. So you want to be thinking about what goes alongside them. And also the other point around that, and we'll go into some questions about that. And if anyone has any, do chip in. I know someone's got one. Is promoting things in your store that aren't where that product is. So looking at secondary sighting. So if you're looking at secondary sighting in store, we utilize POS and normally put the POS where? Next to exactly where the product is to highlight the product. That's fantastic and it brings the consumer's eye to it. But if you are thinking cleverly around things and you've got an immunity product and you have some other products across the store somewhere else, you can highlight that. So you start to bundle things together or package things together. Maybe you secondarily put those two products together at a till or as a little package or as a bundle in your store for sale, but you advertise them and have a secondary site to ensure that there's a maximum opportunity for the customer to see that product.
Just,
But then, yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Just interesting on that. This is one I always wonder, and I should probably visit more stores to find out. But whether stores display things by brand or by, like, when it's health products, whether they do them by type. Because I do everything by brand because I like it to look nice. But obviously some stores you would do, I mean, we do everything by brand, and then we might bring together like maybe a hay fever collection or something like that. But to be honest, even when I do it like that, I still tend to try and stick by brand. So we might do like a Viridian hay fever section, because then we've got the leaflets that go with it and we've got a number of products. And it, to me, it just looks clearer. But I know there are obviously pros and cons of doing it this way. Cheryl,
I can't stop Cheryl jumping in at this point. So
there's actually some data around this, actually. It was old data, I'll give it that. But my understanding is that if you display by brand, you know, obviously vitamins is my main area. If you display by brand, one thing happens, and then if you then change it to by A to Z, you know, be vitamins A, vitamin B, C, do it by product, sales will go up between, I think it was 8 and 10%. Sales will go up. But then if you do it from A to Z, back to brand, sales will go up by 8 to 10%. It's basically the change that gets people excited. But the advantage of selling by brand is you build brand loyalty, especially if you're picking brands that are, you know, largely loyal to the specialist sector. So building that brand loyalty is really what you're looking for, and you're less likely to have direct product pricing comparison. So if I actually merchandised a store, the retailer will be nameless to the innocent, but I re-merchandised the store one weekend, and she had 37 different brands of B complexes. 37 different brands, no word of a lie. Obviously a very weak buyer who just couldn't say no to anybody. And but having those but you know, obviously we cleared out the ones then she picked the ones she really liked. We rearranged them all by brand, and she had, if I remember rightly, and again it was a few years back, but it was something like 15% increase in sales once she did it all by brand and moved away the confusion. I mean, it's confusing enough already, isn't it, a supplement section? But I think you're right, by brand, and then having ailment or seasonal themes that you change regularly and move around and have hero spaces. If you have a big block of a particular brand of something, body care or supplements, having a little theatre shelf, which seems like a luxury, but that theatre shelf within it that highlights a particular category seasonally or weekly, monthly, does again lift sales of those individual products. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that is really helpful. And it's probably along the lines of what we do, because we have kind of our branded products are all around the edges almost, and we have these tables in the middle that are a bit more kind of like feature tables. But then I think the one thing that we do, so going back to the actual point of sale from suppliers and things like that, we don't take a huge amount of it, and partly because of the way our shop is, like all the units down the side are fitted, so there's no space there that we're going to put a big poster, and I hate waste and I cannot bear things just arriving in and going out into the bin, so I basically only get things on request to make it clear not to just keep sending things. But then it is where you put like leaflets and things, and is it useful? So we make quite a few of our own posters, and I'd be really interested if you've got any hints and tips on this as well. So if we're doing like a hay fever, we'll make our own, but I'm just not sure that means they stand out enough. They sort of can be.
We'll come on to the posters and making posters and that kind of message. I made a point on that one. I think it's an interesting point that both of you have made, and I just want to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I know there are lots of stores that don't do it that way. I know there are lots of stores that will do it by ailment, and they'll have immunity, and then they'll have women's health and men's health, and they'll supplement it all out like that, and they will also come on here and say it's absolutely the best way of doing it. And I think the simple message, and then when you simplify and strip it backwards, is it's the message, it's what works for you and your store and your team and how you can deliver that. And if the difficulty becomes when you stack shelves too much, and then everything becomes a bit difficult because it's too much. But if you, as Cheryl mentioned, theatre, even if you theatre around immunity and theatre around the different subsections, you can still have that impact if you are the person that has that within your store. What I would always say, and as much as we maybe look at some of the bigger supermarkets and high street stores that are out there and loathe what they do because of what they sell and how they sell it and the ingredients within it, they have the best marketeers in the world working for them. And some of the things that we can take from those is how they merchandise their stores. And when you look at some of those stores, some of the windows are simplistic. They've got one or two messages in the window. That's simple and done. And then you go in store and everything is brand blocked. Everything is brand blocked. If you go down, the best aisle to ever go down as a judge of this is the cereal bar aisle of any supermarket. You get the big yellow from Belvita that comes in, the big green brand blocking from Nature Valley that comes in. And it really does. It's been proven with newer data as well as continual data that it draws the eye from the consumer, and that's what you want, is the consumer to draw the eye, and two, to recognise those brands. So I think that as long as you're clear in your messaging to the consumer and you regularly walk your store as a consumer and think about the impact that it has to them, if the clarity is there, either way does work. But brand blocking is, if you look at the yogi tea as an example. Every box is a different color and it goes through the part. So they've done this deliberately so that it looks and stands out on shelf. Time and effort has gone in. So there are some categories that really make a difference. But you're right, when you strip everything back, if in doubt, take that opportunity to ask your customer. Take your opportunity to ask your customer and say, what would work for you? Do you find this confusing? Sometimes having that opportunity to ask for feedback, we can all talk all day long about what we've seen and what we do and what other people have said. But every store location is going to be different. And some customers will think about it and they won't have given it a second thought. They'll be like, oh, yeah, it's absolutely fine. I can find everything. It's no problem. It wouldn't be a second thought to them. They don't understand the time and effort that goes behind that. So I would always quantify this with a feedback from people that you know that are going to give you honest feedback. And if you're talking to people, think about doing that for a month with your team. Because I think we talked earlier on about the team and where they place things in store. If you kind of challenge your team to engage with people in the store and ask them, how did you find that okay today? And just start asking 2 or 3 questions and bringing in that data, because data is powerful, and from your own customers, even more powerful. So ask them, if you go to anywhere, they'll have a customer service form or something that understands how they're doing and they can monitor their stuff. So utilize your customer. They're your biggest tool and they are the number one most important people in your shop. So ask them and utilize that from a data perspective.
Yeah, it's quite interesting you're saying that, because just thinking about our store now, I'm thinking from a customer point of view, whilst I think it looks nice because it's all brand blocked, actually, if someone comes in and they've never been in before and they want a B vitamin, I don't think they'd have a clue where to go. We're a fairly small store, so we're helping people. But if we were a bigger store and it was more self-select, you'd have absolutely no
I think you've
ideas.
hit that on the head there, really. It varies on the store, on the type of store you run. If you're a one-man band and you've got a big store, you need to have a lot of self-selection. Like a big supermarket, literally, very few staff relative to the square footage. But in a health food store, generally, you're within hand's reach of whatever it is that's in the store. And having that guided purchase is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? The store, the consumer really wants that handheld service. So being the expert really helps. So blockage, but I do think we move things around a lot. Not the main ranges, I have to say, but we move a lot of the feature points. We have little things on wheels and we move tables around, and then suddenly you just make something a bit more of a feature and you're selling loads of it, whereas the week before nobody spotted it. It was on a shelf lower down. Moving things around makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I think it's something that you look at and think, well, actually, you want people to start seeing things from a different angle. At the very least, I would suggest that you have 4 seasons and you would look at those quarters and make something at least once a quarter. I know that sometimes resource and time constraints mean that it feels that even that could feel, God, that's a lot of work. But actually, it doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be a huge change. Even just a feature table, and a themed table on a quarterly basis can make a big difference. But actually, stores that I know stores that will do monthly and even bi-weekly. I wouldn't necessarily think bi-weekly goes a bit far, in my opinion, because the customer may not even have come in that period of time, and you want that customer journey to think about how coming in once a month. So monthly has a really big impact, and I think it has an impact from the story, from the window display all the way through the store. And each month there is a different theme. There can be a different theme. There is different national days that people know around and can engage with, and it gives you an opportunity to say and talk to a customer in a different way as well. So even then, coming back to what you were saying earlier on about what do I write on the posters? Well, actually, you can, if you're able to change them around on a monthly basis and feature that in, you can start having a play around with what works. You can start asking a question on them. You can try and entice new customers into store with a different message. You can highlight the shop's favorite products of the month, or the immunity bundle, or the allergy bundle, or whatever it might be that you want to look at, or anything that might be at the time trending at this point. I mean, from your store perspective, I'm just interested to see what's trending in your store. What are you seeing at the moment? Are you seeing anything coming through at the moment?
Yeah, mushrooms and collagen have kind of been the story for the last couple of years, really. But then I'm starting to do some things because I'm not entirely convinced yet, but things like NMN and some of those really kind of quite specific longevity nutrients. And at the moment, we've got tiny bits of them, and that's only because I just quite like to do my research before I understand what they are, whether they're going to make a difference. And I think trending products are good for bringing people in, and they're good for a talking point. But actually, what you generally find is someone comes in and they want NMN. What they actually need is magnesium and B vitamins. So it's kind of almost you've got all your, and so I think the way I would try and do those things, and it's what I'm going to try and address on social media, is almost what are they, mentioning them, but actually that gives us an opportunity to get people in and say, right, okay, well, what do you really need? Let's look at your diet, and actually you're not getting very much iron, or you're not getting very much B12. But we sort of need to be aware of those trending things. And it's a bit like the whole CBD story. I mean, we never sold very much CBD, but it gave us a brilliant opportunity to sell all those tried and tested remedies for anxiety and sleep that we'd always known were out there. So yeah, I think it's just from a point of sale point of view, I guess it's highlighting those trends, but then it's around talk to us about what this is, or getting a conversation, I think.
Yeah, and you'll go to other stores and they couldn't sell enough CBD as well. So again, it's around different regions and different areas, and I always try and keep that balance. But I think, talking of your posters, that's the piece. Are you looking for M&M? Come and ask us, talk to us. Did you know that Did you know that magnesium? There's those questions around it, because people, there's lots of data out there at the moment. There's lots of information at people's fingertips, and a little bit of information is really dangerous, because people now come in and they decide, I've seen X and now I want it. And then when you ask them why they want it, they don't really know.
Could Davinia Taylor told her that they needed to. That's why.
I mean, the amount of people that are now buying lion's mane from the back of Clarkson's farm, the increase in lion's mane full stop. And I ask people, and they're like, oh, are you taking this? And I say, well, I've been using it for years. What do you use it for? And their answer is, because I saw it on Clarkson's farm. And that kind of thing, you can't do anything around, but you can then create a little, even if you, maybe you don't, maybe this is going too far, but if you did a Jeremy Clarkson little mini cutout and said, looking for lion's mane, come and ask us, then it's relevant. It's topical. You might not want his face in your shop, but there's ways and means. You might put a tractor up, you might put something on there, you might put a logo on there, because you know it's trending and you know it's topical. So if people are you're seeing those trends, you might not want to dive into them, but then that gives you, again, going back to your customer again, where I think everything goes back to, you're getting that data that them going, oh, I know that. I've worked with, oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I'm looking for that. And then when they start to ask you, oh, I was looking for this, is it not on the shelf? Then you can open up that conversation. And then when 3 or 4 do it, and 4 or 5 do it, then you can say, well, maybe there's something in this and we should get a bit of a range in. And you can understand it a little bit more, and understand the reasons behind it. But I think there's a lot of time around when people are looking for something, as you said, it's that secondary question. What is it you're looking at for? What is actually the symptom, and how do you treat it? But again, like you've said, is there anything wrong with selling them MMN rather than what you said? Oh well, all they need is, but they don't know that. They've bought into the fact that they need that product. So actually, there's a case to say, give the people what they want in a degree, within reason, but give them the education and information around the other side of it as well.
I think there is. I mean, yeah, I could probably sell a lot more if I just sold everybody exactly what they wanted, but I think it's a credibility thing as well. And it's a kind of, I want to understand what that product is for. I want to understand that is the product they need. That's why I think we're different. And that's why I think health stores are different. If they've got low energy because they're iron deficient, selling them NMN might not make a difference, and then they're not coming back. So
no, you're absolutely right, because if you sell somebody the fad, you'll sell them one product. If you sell them what they actually need. You sell them, 20 products until they're fixed, or, to get them into the right, they'll trust you and they'll bring their family back and they'll be trusting you for generations. The fads are all well and good and you can have a peak month, but you're not, that's not a way to generally help your community and have longevity in the community. But could I ask you a couple of specific questions on point of sale, Dave? Forgive me if that's okay. I got a couple of things. What do you think about staff picks? You see them in bookshops all the time. Do you think they work? Have you seen them work? Do you feel comfortable with them?
I think they do have a place, and I think when you take back to consumer habits, it's less around staff picks and it's more around somebody else likes this product.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's actually the message that people, when you think about what the reality is, when you look at the restaurants that we go to and the things that we buy and the general buyer habits, if you use Amazon as an example, if you've got a product that's had sold 10,000 and a product that's sold 5, which one is people buying? They're buying the one that sold 10,000.
Yeah.
So people want to lower their risk. People are risk averse. So if they're thinking around which product it is that they want to buy and the staff have chosen this one, the reality is they may not have, as we all know, but they should have, and they should be ethical and they should be doing that for a legitimate reason. But actually, it shows that consumer, oh, okay, that's someone else has tried that and that's their favorite. So that might well be for me. It might well be the choice for me. So it's actually around thinking around what that staff pick does, and what it does is it creates someone else has used that, so it lowers my barrier to purchase.
Okay.
So yes, there is definitely a use of it. I see staff picks that are like 20 products. That loses its
it's got to be,
integrity.
each member of staff gets a pick once a month and they put their little piece on a card. But my other question is to you, how many, if you're using shelf talkers for staff picks or for, shelf talkers for different things, how many do you think in a bay is too many? How many do you think in a bay is the right number? When I say a bay, a meter of shelving,
I think with the meter shelving, again, I think it is around the products that you have as well. So if you've got a selection of products, let's take teas as an example. Teas are quite brightly coloured already, and there are a plethora of different colours. So adding lots of shelf talkers onto those makes no sense, because they just blur all into one and they become nothing. Somewhere where you have a block of a certain lighter color, or a block of a color of one color area, then that stands out. So it's around where it adds value, and it's around, you'll know within your store if you put a shelf talker on and you look back and you think it doesn't look right because there's 4 or 5 different products that are all different colors and you're trying to get a message across.
Too much, yeah.
It's too much, and actually, so keeping it simple. Brands as well love to make theirs really colorful, and because everyone's trying to stand out, and actually that means that nobody stands out. So actually there's 2 sides to this. I think one is around engaging with brands, because brands will make POS at a drop of a hat sometimes, and they're dying for feedback, so utilizing them from that side. But you'll know what's right for your store, and I think again it comes down to, just because you have it doesn't mean you should use it.
There's no science around what a human being can assimilate in one go or anything. I don't know. I've not seen anything or read anything, but it's not.
Less is more when it comes to words. Obviously, slightly bigger. The bigger the font, the better. If people have got a squint or you can't see an instant message, then don't put it within there. If it is, the more you can color block, the better. So there are some bits around the size of fonts and the messaging that's on there. But again, it comes back to what we were saying before about that shopper journey. If it's adding value, fantastic. And if it's not adding value, then don't do it. Don't do it. It needs. If you think, oh, this will make this range really pop or really grow out, then great, and that's fantastic if it adds that value. But if it doesn't, then try it but monitor it and ask. It's your eye in your store.
Very quickly, can't you, when things work? You suddenly everybody starts giggling in the store. Oh my goodness, we sold 6 of those today. We haven't sold any before, and all we did was put a little shelf talker under it, or a little sign.
But it's very difficult to spot the other way, Cheryl. I think that when you could buy something and there's 6 and there was never any before, that's great, and it's easier to spot. When the thing that had 6 suddenly has none, because it hasn't worked the reverse way, that actually takes a little bit longer for people to notice.
That's
Oh, we
true.
haven't sold any of that until they happen to
Yeah,
walk past. So
that's
it's actually understanding that if you're trialing stuff, do trial it and keep an eye on it for that first period of time.
true.
But I would suggest that the human eye, and especially these days, the simpler the better.
Yeah.
You know,
Can I ask you your thoughts on whether to put your own logo on shelf talkers and other point of sale items around the shop? I've always been a big evangelist for that. I think that people forget where they bought things, and to have that subliminal, not so subliminal message of having your logo in various different places, and creating a cardboard shelf talk with your logo on is very cheap. You know, it's not an expensive thing to do. Your thoughts on that?
I think it adds value if it's done right. I think it creates an opportunity that means that you might be able to highlight ranges and so on. If you've got seasonal products within there and putting your logos on that makes perfect sense. I think it adds an element of credibility as well, because it's almost an unbiased view, because it's the store. People perceive that as the store's view rather than a specific brand talking to them.
Yeah.
So whilst in mainstream retail, those brands have all the key and the power, actually, people come into our industry because they want to talk to the store and they want that different, and they want to find sometimes things they don't find anywhere else. So actually, it adds some more authenticity and credibility around it. Too much, again, it's different, but actually you are right. The more people see that logo and are subliminally seeing that the logo, the better opportunities that there are to do that. Sometimes I just see it at the door and it's the only place I see it. And I
Yeah.
think there's definitely missed opportunity there. But if you're creating chalkboards or you're doing little offers or wherever you're doing and you have your logo in and around it, it is a good reminder to do that.
Thank you.
I'm just thinking there, but I don't know what the solution to this is. What would be great is when you sell a product, so you sell somebody a supplement that's got 30 capsules in a month's time, they're going to need to buy it again. You could have some way of getting your logo. Okay. I think there used
I
to be
suppose
like
in the old days, people
price
just put
stickers.
stickers on, didn't they? Stickered the
Yeah.
price on with their logo in the old days, but you wouldn't want to do that now. But
It's
yeah,
something
no,
that
it's
means
true.
that like they've got
There
you
are a
in
lot of
there.
people that would use ink stamps still.
Mm.
There's a lot of people, and actually, it's interesting is stickers are making a comeback. They are making a comeback, and you can get fully sustainable, fully recycled stickers as well. So there's no necessarily impact on it, but people are using them a lot more, especially as now we've gone to using brown paper bags for a lot of things as well because of the recyclability of them. People
I
are
mean, I
utilising
do like the refund on bottles. You know, I'm a fan of that. But I think, you know, you could offer that on every product, you know, and say, you know, if you had a sticker made for your store and it just said, bring the bottle back, we'll give you 10p or whatever, 10p off your next purchase on, and you stickered that on everything as you, the till, or, you know, you stuck it on their forehead as they left the shop, you know, to know that they can bring the bottles back and get the refunds. But it's hard because it's hard to recycle those bottles, I know, but you know, if it's a higher priced item and you definitely want them back in your shop, maybe offering that 25p back on a bottle isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
It works very well. I've seen a lot of people do that. Seen a lot of people do it, and it's about retention. It's about bringing people back into store, and that's what a lot of that point of sale needs to be doing as well. Everyone thinks about that whilst they're in store. Actually, we need to think about getting the maximum visibility, making sure you get the right location and the right message. And actually, that is the main thing we're trying to do: is leave a memorable message. And there's nothing more memorable than taking out the logo of the store.
Yeah, because I think that's one of our biggest challenges is that we can do really well on those first sales. We can do really well on giving the advice. People know to come in and get advice, but because we sell branded products, as soon as they go home, they've got what we've recommended, and lives are busy and they've run out. So what do? They Google it. You know, we try and say, yeah, we've got a website as well, but they Google it and then they find, oh look, I can get 20% off now if I go and buy it direct from the supplier. So you think all that work that we put in, and we proactively stay away as much as we can from brands that will kind of undercut us, because and you know, some we've almost dropped altogether, but they do sometimes have the right product for the right person. And
we've started a new thing in our shop just this last week, so I can't tell you how well it's working or will work, but it wasn't my idea. It was Tammy, our manager. She said, what they now do at the till is, as they're buying a purchase and you give it, you say, thank you so much for supporting this independent business. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you shopping local. And it's not exactly the same phrase every time, but it's basically that message every single time. So I'll let you know whether we see an increase in, footfall over the next few weeks. But I think, again, it's reminding them you're not Boots. It doesn't matter if you buy from the shop or online. Who cares? Boots is everywhere or whatever. We are a private independent business, shop local. And, we hope to see you here again next month to make sure we're still here next month. I mean, those kind of conversations in store, I think, are quite, in the zeitgeist now. Everybody's talking about local and supporting community and that kind of thing. It's, and it, even a question, even a thing like, thank you so much for coming in today. Is there anybody else in your community you think we could help? Is there anybody else any of your friends you think we could help? Please, I always say, tell your friends, when everybody says anything nice, I say, oh, great, tell your friends, I mean, my Pilates class, different groups I belong to, I'm unashamedly, self-PRing for the businesses. I can't help myself, I carry my bags, the bookshop and the health food store bags, and and I don't think you can underestimate the power of a paper bag either, with your big logo on it. But the logo, I love it. If I'm driving through town, I can see, at least 2 or 3 people with Chief Street Health Store bags. And when we had the jute ones, they last, and people use them all the time. You get a nice sturdy bag. It's an investment, but it's getting your point of sale in effect out on the street, which is powerful. Oh, and one more thing we're doing, you mentioned about literature. We have a big literature bay in the store, 6 feet away from the supplement section, as it's legally supposed to be. But we've also just bought an outdoor metal frame thing that holds about, I think it's about 9 A5 leaflets. And we're a listed building, so we're not really supposed to do this, but we've put a couple of screws in the wall to hang it outside during the day, so that people can just grab literature, which are all stamped up with our health store name and address. And we're hoping that people will take a load of leaflets, then come back. So it's not a unique or an original idea, but we reminded ourselves of it a few months back. We've ordered the frame, and we're getting that put in.
Yeah, but I do think we forget those things, without doing something like this. You kind of, because I've been thinking about that as we've been going through things. We spend so much time now thinking of, well, what we're going to do on social media, what we're going to do on that. But actually, yes, we've put posters up in the store, but when did we last really go, okay, what can we do to make sure that people come back to the store? So we can spend all that time kind of trying to generate new customers, but actually what we need to be doing is, like you say, improving where we've got leaflets, making sure nothing is out without a stamp on it. Just a practical question. Do you get your bags printed locally, Cheryl?
Sorry, our bags printed locally? No, I don't think we do. I think there's some central place. If you want the address,
I might need to get the details from you.
Yeah, no problem. If you phone into the office, speak to Grace. Speak to Grace. She'll be able to do that. And if, when we're printing ours, we could print together, we can probably get a better price. We use the brown paper bags with the twill handle.
Yeah, we've got the white ones, but we started stamping them ourselves because it was cheaper to have a big stamp.
Yeah,
they don't.
It's hard work though. We started off like that because the print run was so huge, but it's bloody hard work, and the stamps get all disgusting.
Yeah,
so
and then you find that people don't do it. So,
but we've got a place to store them. I mean, theory, we could actually store yours for you and send them up whenever you need them, I suppose, if you didn't have storage for a pallet. But I'll buy the
okay. Well, let's I'll send you a note on that, because it probably would be useful actually. Yeah. Okie dokie.
Yeah. Something else we did in our store. Sorry, Dave, I just got very excited. You talked about how difficult it is you said something about but anyway, but what I can't remember what you said, Joe, but you brought me up. We've got an upstairs now. I mean, we've already had an upstairs. It used to be all yoga and Pilates, but we've put a fair trade fashion and fair trade homewares thing upstairs. And, it's hell's teeth getting people to go up a flight of stairs. I mean, it really is. But we've worked out a couple of things that have just seemed to, I'm not saying that everybody goes up, but we've seen an increase in the number of people going upstairs. And it's a real simple thing. We've got some beams in the shop, and one of them, we've put we were going to put more upstairs, homewares, ethical upstairs or whatever. But in the end, we brainstormed it, and we just put a quote, like in quote marks, and it says, I didn't even know there was more upstairs, ... in quotes. And so many people comment on it. They go, oh no, I didn't know there was any more. I didn't know there was more upstairs either. And they go upstairs. So, you know, having little quirky things, I think, is good. You know, I mean, you know, there are chains of restaurants and things that are have gone quirky. You know, the marketing company has come up with quirky, but I think independent stores can do quirky better than anybody. So I think having some little things that make you smile around the shop that are just very independent and heartfelt can be. We have we have a noticeable says free hugs in store. You know, it's just a bit different.
And just
I think there's a
again,
lot.
practical, because I'm not very good at getting things done. So where you've put like a quote up the stairs, what have you done that in?
I think she's used blackboard chalk paint.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's just on a white, you know, like you got a beam in the shop and just written across there in a hands. I mean, but it just happens that one of the staff is, you know, very good at doing these things. I mean, I'll take a photograph of it and send it to you because it's not
Yeah.
perfect. It doesn't look like it's been done by a fabulous artist. It looks like it's been done by somebody reasonably competent. You know,
Yeah.
it's very human.
I think sometimes I stop doing things because they're like looking for perfection, so it doesn't happen
Yeah.
because
No.
I don't know who's going to paint it or who's going to do this, but
Yeah.
actually just do
Don't,
it.
don't let
Yeah.
perfection be the enemy of the good.
No.
Yeah.
Paralysis of perfection.
I think going back to Cheryl, what you were saying there and talking about the POS and messaging on posters and POS and stuff as well. I think the reason why when you look at, oh, I didn't know there was more upstairs, resonates is because that is what people would think. So it mirrors what an initial reaction would be. And actually mirroring what your customer is looking for is great. I'm going to drop back slightly to just talking about how to get those people back into store when you're selling labels and so on. And even if you've got an online, if you do have a website and you happen to have a website, a QR code on the top of the pack that says reorder here, and a QR code that they can just use on their phone works extraordinarily well. It doesn't stop all of the filter going. If they need something online, they'll go to their normal
I
place.
don't know. Have you noticed, Dave, that a lot of QR codes seem to be having a bit of a renaissance? I think you know,
Absolutely.
there was a time where they were there and then everybody hated them and they disappeared for a while, but now they're everywhere. And I can honestly say even I've started using them, which is
They're absolutely
Luddite
everywhere.
now,
It's
yeah.
simplicity. The simplicity of it is just I scan a code. I don't even have to type a website in. I don't have to type anything in. So the less you have to make your customer do, the more they're likely to do. So the simplicity of just scanning a QR code that goes directly to the website is fantastic. If you have a little bit of spare time and you are selling and you're putting supplements on, you can even QR code it to the supplement section on your website just to make it even easier.
Well, you could do a QR code to go just straight to your Facebook page if you wanted to get more people to join your Facebook page, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
So is it, I'm sorry, I'm so ignorant, but is it easy to create a QR code? Is it expensive?
Seconds. You can know it's free to do, absolutely free to
Could
do.
we
It
put
takes
something on
seconds.
Health Stores UK pages so that it says 3 steps to creating a QR code or something like that?
QR code. Yeah,
For the
absolutely.
Luddites amongst us, because I don't know how to do it.
No, it is. It's only simple if you know how. So yeah, absolutely, we can put a 3 steps on for there, and you can take them anywhere. And that's the POS that keeps on giving, because that POS is about point of sale. Well, once they've left the store, you're forgotten. So how do you still do that? Well, actually, even if it's a QR code that says come onto social, the next point I would just say to that, Cheryl, just to caveat that is if you're going to have someone that goes onto social and they go bing and they hit your Facebook, what's going to greet them? So make sure you're pinning the right thing. So the first thing they see is a welcome, or there's a monthly competition, or there's a sampling event, or there's something on there that people go, oh, welcome. You've instantly, you get a welcome message when you join that says, well done. You've instantly
You've
got
sparked a
10%.
thought there, Dave. How about if Joe said for the month of, what month are we? For the month of July, anybody who brings back a lid of a product, not the whole product, just the lid of a product, gets entered into a free draw to win a £50 voucher for the store, or you know, whatever you want it to be, so that you're getting them to come back in and you're not having to deal with a massive recycling.
And if you want to go one step further than that, you go a gift for your friend.
Yeah, smooth.
Then because then you get somebody secondarily and you get your friend to come in. And if you've got a cafe, you get a table for two, so that they
Yeah.
have to bring somebody else into the store. Something that brings that secondary person in is
You
really
get into a
important
free
as
draw
well.
to win 2 vouchers, one for you and one for your friend. Nice.
And if you get onto Facebook as an example, and you have that code on Facebook, and they are new to your Facebook page, you can have an automated message that then kicks back to them when they join. Says, "Thank you for joining our Facebook community. As a thank you, here's 10% off your next purchase. You come in and use code X."
Well, that's just
And
wizardry. I don't know how that would work, but that's just wizardry as far as I'm concerned.
so
You'd have to explain
it's the
that.
same with anyone that sends you messages and so on Facebook. You can get automated messages that come back from it, and
Right.
maybe we'll do a section around that as well, because
That's
I think
great.
that's interesting. Interestingly, I've had a couple of people talking around following the customer. So when they're out the store, how can you still talk to them? Well, this gives you that opportunity, and if you have that QR code going back to that whole local business, tag us on social, get a 5% discount, something like that. That
Oh,
wants
not
them to
discounts. No,
engage,
no.
or whatever it might be. When you've got those
Yeah.
different things on, if you're trying to do something, having a little Insta wall that you try and get customers to do a little photo with or post it, and then you go, "Oh, we're giving these samples away for free if you do a
Nice.
little
Yeah.
post."
Nice.
I was at an event recently, and we did that. We said, if you just do a 5-second video for us or a picture with a product, then we'll give you the product. And people fell over themselves for it
Yeah.
because it was free.
Nice.
Um, so that POS coming all the way back round again, and that's about the posters, is around that mirroring and that messaging that adds value to that customer. So if you're trying to have a month where you're purely trying to attract new customers, your messaging might be around a question. Do you make a noise when you get up? We all get, and because people will go, "Oh, I do make a noise when I get up." And if they don't remember it there and then, but the next time they make a noise, it will sit with them and go,
Yeah.
"Oh, you don't have to make a noise when you get up." It's something that's because it's
Yeah.
something that's relevant that will captures people's attention and gets them to think. Taking hay fever tablets, yet still suffering from hay fever.
Mm.
You're relating to them. You're showing the people that you understand them as a consumer, as your POS section. You're not ramming a product to them. You're trying to fix and find a problem. So you're problem hunting rather than problem solving. And I think when you understand that, then customers will resonate with that and go, "Oh, that is me." Do you struggle sleeping in certain times of the year? You don't have to. And what it is. It might be signs of menopause. It might be signs of anxiety. It might be, what are those signs? Do you find yourself doing this? We can help. Come and ask our friend. Come and ask our friendly staff. We know. We. So it's just
Don't be
really saying
embarrassed.
we
We've heard it
understand
all before. Yeah.
but we're saying we understand you.
Yeah.
You're talking about them in their language that says we understand you. Come in for a confidential conversation,
Nice.
or drop us. Or if you don't fancy that, QR code us, and on the window, when do you QR code on the window as you're passing by to all our special offers? Keep up to date with our special offers. QR code straight to our Facebook, straight to our website, straight to our Instagram, whatever that might be. Confidentially contact us on Facebook messaging, by the way. It also works very nicely. They're not too comfortable to say it in the shop out loud, then they can anonymously leave a message on, and then you can still give them the support, even for those people that don't feel comfortable talking about something specifically the first time round. You can take them on that. It's all about taking them on that journey.
I like that a lot.
Are there any other specific questions around POS? There are. I think my main takeouts with POS are really think about the customer first always. Try our stuff in store, and if it works, get data from people, ask people what works, what they would like to see. But if it adds value, do it. If it adds value, if it doesn't add value, then less is more.
Do you have a kind of a rule of thumb of what you'd have on if you're putting an A5 piece next to a section or on an end cap, with the bulk of product? Is it name of the product, the price of the product, the quantity that's in the product? Do you have a sort of winning formula for
The winning
assigning
formula
these
normally
names?
involves a different mix for different people, but it normally involves what that product will do for me. What this product make my life easier? What problem does it solve?
Yeah.
And that's the resonating point. I think we talk a lot about I did a talk today around this actually, and we did people talk a lot about the main things that people don't purchase is it's time or money. And actually it's neither. We have all spent more time doing something than we wanted to, and we've all definitely spent more money on something that we did that we wanted to because we saw the value in it at the time. Even if that's just scrolling on your phone for too long, because at the time that was more valuable than anything else you could have been doing. Otherwise, you would have seen that value and done it. So actually, the third thing that people want from a health store is health. So actually, what does this fix? What benefit does this give me? Because when I see the benefit and I see the value to me personally, the time if it takes 3 to 6 weeks to work, great. But I'll buy into that because I know what the end result's going to
So
be.
do you
If it's a
think
little
it
bit more
should have the
expensive,
price or not? Do you think it should say the price on a signage or no?
I wouldn't. If you think it's a product that, especially if it's a high price point, as a consumer will make their mind up way before they've even got to that point. So they'll see the price first and go, well, I'm not paying that.
Hmm.
Before they understand the benefits, before they understand how it would help them, before they understand maybe it's a shorter course that they need and actually it will save them money in the long run, before they see any of those things, they've our brain goes, how much? Oh God, I'm not paying that.
I do
Before we really
sometimes
even
see
know
people
what's
that
around.
price tag on top of products, I would say, oh no, put the price tag underneath. So at least people will pick it up first. And obviously when you've got the EPOS system underneath, don't use the biggest font, use the medium or smallest font on the price so that it's not the first thing people say. They see it, but it's not the first thing people say.
On the shelf and people need to know what things cost, but if you're utilizing a POS piece, it wouldn't be the price I'd be highlighting, it'd be the value of what it does for me that should be the highlight. That's the biggest rule of thumb.
I guess unless you've got a special on and then you want to say it was £5, now it's £2.50 or something, you want to make a point of that, right?
Even if it was £5 and it now is £2.50, what you want to do is actually use the words save £2.50.
Okay. Okay.
If you can always, if you can put money over percentages, do that too.
Yeah.
20% off means what to most people?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. No one can work it out.
Yeah.
We think it's simple. I've said before, the average reading age in Britain of the grown adult in Britain is 9 years old. It's 9 years old. So
Yeah.
actually, the simpler we make things, the better. So actually, saving £2.50, save £1, that I can relate to. That makes sense. But 15% off, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's around true value as well. People are starting getting to wise to it. I can't walk past shops without going in and looking what they're doing in shops. And I was in Waitrose had an offer on because some people now text me because they know that I'm looking for it. They currently have two 500ml laundry liquids on offer. It is two for £10. That's the offer, two for 10.
Yeah.
Next to it is a 1 litre
Mm.
for £8.50.
Hmm.
But it's not on offer. So guess what people are picking up?
Yeah,
They're
it's
picking
crazy,
up.
hey.
So
No, I was
actually, I
out,
think off
I was
offers
out
aren't
with my son
normally
earlier
offers.
picking some stuff up for his dinner tonight, and there was something like this pre-packed stuff, and it was like 3 for £12. So you automatically start looking for like 3 that you don't need.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, do you know what? If you buy 3 of those, we're going to save 90p. Because you don't look at what they were
probably
like.
one of them will go out of date before you have a chance to
Yeah,
eat
they
it,
were like
right?
something like £4.30 each, but it was 3 for £12.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't have looked because I was like, oh, do you need something else? And I'm picking I thought, no, we don't need any of this. Like, you need the one thing that you need today.
Yeah.
But
And you think, oh, I've saved 90p. You haven't. You've spent £4 that you didn't want to spend. That's
yeah,
what's
no,
actually happened.
it was
So I
just
think
really,
there
it
is,
wasn't a good offer at all. But you're just
and
drawn to that. You think it's the perception that the offer is going to be better than it is.
Is there
that's what
a
you think about.
hierarchy in signage though, Dave? Where is it better to do buy one, get one half price? Is it better to do it a buy one, get one free? Is it better to say 50% off? Is it better to say save £5? Is there a hierarchy of what works best?
Buy one get one free. The buy one get ones or the bog ships buy one get second half price. Is because people that half price resonates with people. The free resonates with people. So actually, over money, because it's even more simple, half price. I don't even have to think about any kind of money there. It's just for all I see is free or half price. So buy one get second half price always gets that one done well. Or and then it save a pound, save £5, save whatever it is from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me know when you've got the buy one get one frees on though, Cheryl. I'll come and visit you then.
Yeah, we did the Fiver Fest and that was incredible. We sold hundreds of the gosh, I've forgotten what the brand is now, begins with S. The soaking. We sold 300-400 bags of that stuff, or sets of 3 of that stuff, and they were doing it for a £5. You know, we like to, in fact, we've just made a decision today. We're going to buy in a massive amount of toilet rolls and do some big end caps on toilet rolls, because everybody's mad for this who gives a crap at the moment. And although supermarkets are doing it, they tend to have the great big packs, and we're thinking we can go for the sort of smaller packs, which are selling quite well. So but yeah, I think if you can get a big deal in or something, put it as an end cap and the right kind of signage.
But that's also an interesting thing with someone like Who Gives a Crap as an example. Every one of their rolls is individually wrapped in different colours. So actually, people can mix and match and choose their own colours to suit their bathrooms. That's an advantage over anywhere else. Where we can get advantages in our stores over anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that whole point of sale piece is interesting when you want to talk about true value or true offers or real savings. Putting those kind of words in starts people questioning people. What do you mean by real savings? You can say, well, sometimes you'll find that savings aren't savings.
Yeah.
And actually, you can ask us about any of them, because we're not hiding behind a counter or a till, or it's not done a head office. It's us. So it's real savings.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of things, when consumers kind of get behind that, they do go, oh, I hadn't thought about that, because you're not looking. If you're not looking, you won't see. So actually, even if it's just subliminally, what do you mean by real savings? They'll look the next time they go, and the next time they go and they see that offer, and you told them about that offer, guess where that loyalty's now with? It's built it back in with you, even though you're not talking to them.
Fabulous. I've got a lot here, Dave. It's been a useful session.
Yes, I have lots of typing away on my notes as we've been talking. Yeah, it's like I said before, it's always good just to get a bit of a kind of, a bit of a heads up, other people's thoughts on things. We're so in it when we're doing things day to day that just you start to think, oh, actually, I've never thought about that. So it's been good. It has been very good. And
can we get some feedback from Jill, Claire, and Helen? I know we can't see you, but can we hear you? Anybody able to shout out how you found this session useful? Hi, Helen. Are you going to take yourself off mute? Helen, we can't hear you. Oh. Yeah. Oh, nearly. That's it.
Yeah, you can hear me?
We can hear you now. We can't see you, but we can hear you. So how have you found it this evening? Oh, I think you might press the mute button again. Oh, Helen's trying to sort herself out. Jill, any thoughts? Has this been a useful session?
I think Helen's back.
Can you hear me though?
We can.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I think it's been great. I've been scribbling away. I haven't got the ability to type notes, so it's pencil and paper for me. No, it's really good, and I think I love the questions about the branding, putting brands together or ailments together, and we question that all the time.
Do you have an answer?
No. Some staff love the branding, some staff like them all in the ailments, and it just causes a lot of, but I think maybe like you said, is perhaps you change them around once a year.
Yeah, it is the moving around, but there is the element of brand loyalty and the difficulty for customers to price compare if you keep the brands separate, which is advantageous in terms of sales. So, you know, otherwise people tend to choose the mid-price range, which is not advantageous to your business. You know, you want them to be able to choose the more expensive ones if it's the most appropriate for them. So, but yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Excellent.
The Meridian altogether looks so good. It seems a shame to split it up.
I agree entirely. I agree entirely.
Hey,
I'm
I
gonna-
didn't see that coming, Cheryl. I thought
oh
you'd
no,
have.
absolutely.
I think the interesting thing,
and that.
Helen, that you just said there is the staff think this and some staff think that. Ask customers.
Yeah,
Ask your
the
customers if they're
customers
finding
I
it easy.
do. Yeah, I had to do it when I did it because I had so much sort of feedback from the staff that I had to ask the customers, and nearly all the customers prefer it branded.
Smashing.
There's your answer.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to ask Jill. Jill Bell, can you hear us? Jill, are you there? Are you there? I feel like I'm at a seance. Jill, are you there?
Eurovision.
Okay. How about Claire? Claire, are you still with us? Claire, are you able to unmute yourself and say hello? Okay. All right. I just thought it'd be good to bring everybody into the room, but over to you, Joe.
Yep. So I've asked lots of questions and given lots of comments. So I don't think any more to add other than to say thank you as always, Dave, because that was yeah, really good session. Lots of things to think about, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of people who kind of watch the sessions afterwards, and it's always a good resource. And I think if anybody is watching this on video, the one thing that would be good is any thoughts around anything we've discussed. I'm sure we can bring that into the next mastermind session as well, Cheryl, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
If people go away and do things, or they've got thoughts on how things have worked, that we always want to hear what's worked well. Oh, Jill said yes, can hear and enjoy, but not
Okay,
Jill's just basically made a comment, can hear and enjoy, but isn't in a position to participate, but lots to think about and a useful session. Thank you.
Fantastic. It's good
Thank you,
feedback.
Jill. So yeah, so anyone who's watching it on video, bring along any thoughts to the next mastermind session, because I think we've all got so much we can learn from each other.
And that's on Wednesday,
time,
31st of July, and I'll be hosting that. It's basically a mastermind where it's not recorded, so you have to be there in person, and it's very much a safe space to discuss any live current issues or thoughts or opportunities you want to share.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah, because I think the main thing is we're all working this out together. There's no, well, there is a book on how to run a health store actually, but we can learn a lot from each other, and I think that's exactly, and that's what works so well. So thank you everybody, and I appreciate you taking the time out of a nice sunny evening to join us. So as always, we will see you at the next session, and thanks again, Dave.
No
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.